Hey, 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 awesomes. It's your girl, Karee, on AWE Radio, where we are unapologetically empowered and always on with information and information, inspiration and information for your transformation. Listen, I'm super, super excited because we have a wonderful guest here in the radio station with us today, Regina Adams. You may remember Regina from the Her Woman Evolves series recently. And if you haven't heard that, tune in every Monday starting at 9 and throughout the day, and sometimes replayed throughout the week to hear these fascinating stories from women like Regina. But today, let me tell you a little bit about her. She is a retired deputy J8 Joint Forces Resource Management. That's a euphemism for a bigwig, and she is also the CEO of her new organization, ABCD Programs and Resource Management. Of course, is the COO of Cocoa Women and Youth Empowerment Foundation, and she's got a lot of great things coming up that she is going to be sharing with you. I'm super excited. I won't give it away right now. I'll let you listen to her talk a bit about what she's got coming up, and then I'm going to share a wonderful surprise with you at the end of our day today. Hello, Regina.
Hi, Corey. How are you?
I'm well. Well, thank you so much for coming back to AWE Radio. It is always a privilege as well as a pleasure to speak with you. Now, listen. When we last met for the Her Woman Evolve series, you talked to us about your life, your family, your interests, and all of those things. And you talked about your latest venture with ABCD. Now, listen, I want you to briefly tell us what ABCD is, but then I really want you to move into what is next for Regina and ABCD PNRM.
Well, I established that company as an all of U.S. non-governmental grantee to assist or provide the government with an alternative means of funding or distributing the governmental funds that the Biden programs for the people, those that he has gotten approved and put out there. Normally, they go through traditional grantees, which are states, local, territorial, or tribal governments. I'm saying, okay, if we are real, that wasn't working quite good, so he needed something else. So I wanted to make there something else available, and that's actually what I did for the government, using and managing their funds. So I had a lot of expertise in that area. Well, you asked me what was next. I say, okay, let me think about that. In thinking about it, I said the answer to the question of what was next for my company and what was next for me, same answer. I'm going to focus more on the program aspect as opposed to the resource management aspect. I have always been so intrigued with voting and those kind of things, the government and how it works and all of that. So I'm going to look into improving the state of the country, of government, by focusing on saving our democracy. One vote, one issue, one decision at a time, from the inside, outside, wherever the journey takes me.
Now that's interesting because this is a little different for AWE. But here at AWE Radio, we always say that we are, like I said at the top of the hour, always on with information and inspiration. And I can think of, particularly in today's climate, no better encouragement, inspiration, help with transformation than to give more information about our democratic process, the issues that are affecting us, and how we can be empowered through our voice. What inspired you to do this kind of thing?
Well, I've always been interested in that, as I said, and I kind of present myself to the family as, that kind of thing. But I'm wanting to branch out because I see that across the country, in all aspects of the country, everybody needs a little more information a little more truth about what's going on and how to get access to information. They don't have the time that I have sitting around listening to the different sides, to the different bits of information, and being able to access it. So I want to make that a little easier for them, because I want them to know that it is critical. Things are dire, and it is important for them to understand what's going on and to be able to know how to make a difference.
So, folks, I might as well just let the cat out of the bag now. I said at the end we would do it, but Regina is going to be our correspondent for AWE Radio here and sharing with us this critical information to help us think, and really assess how we can best assess our voice to make positive change in this country. This is so needed, Regina. I am so glad that you are going to be doing this. What kind of things can we expect from your program, which, by the way, folks, is going to be aired every Friday? We'll, of course, keep you posted, but, like we do it, we start at 9 a.m. Eastern, and then we go throughout the day, but we will most definitely keep you posted. But Regina, tell us, what are the kinds of things that you expect to cover in your program, and what's the name of the program?
It is Let's Talk About Getting It Together.
Let's talk about getting it together. Not to be confused with Getting It Together, You Life and Living with Dr. C's program. But, we have to get it together holistically, not just in personal development, but in also understanding the right to exercise our voice. So I like Let's Talk About Getting It Together. Now, tell us a little bit more about that.
Well, through this and other avenues, what I want to do is I want to let people know, provide them with information, education, guidance, direction, clarity, access, truth, be a sounding board, and hopefully give them understanding.
That's awesome. That is so needed. That's so needed. And I think that's something that our listeners, and our listeners are global, and I know we are talking primarily about United States, right? But I think it's just really important for us to have information. I mean, a lot of us are working, a lot of us are juggling things, and we may not be as close to the issues as some others are. So this is a wonderful opportunity for you to give us a great perspective on the issues that are impacting the company and the importance, right, of us exercising our voice. I know you're really passionate about that.
Absolutely. I think it is important for us to understand the holistic issues of government, because we think president, all-knowing, do-all, Congress, but we got three parts of the government. They all do different things, and they have to do it in concert with each other in order for it to work. One aspect of it cannot do anything if not with the others. So it's important that we understand that, and we don't try to hold anybody accountable or to a higher level when they cannot do what they need to do without the help of those lower levels of the government, all the way down to state and local. They need that. And what we have to understand is that it is important to deal with all of that, because once it gets up to the president, he can only do what he's allowed to do through these other aspects. It's got to come to him ready.
Or her.
Absolutely.
So do you feel like it's more important to exercise that vote at the state and local level or at the federal level? What are your thoughts?
Probably more impactful. And I will say that because a lot of what's going on with, say, in the Supreme Court, pushing power down to the state and local level, those people are getting now to be able to make decisions which impact before or don't even come up to the federal level.
Makes sense.
So what it means is, if all the power's down locally and you haven't gotten any of that power, if it's all with somebody else, then guess what? It never gets up to where we, as normal voters, want to vote only for the president. No. Let's get out of that habit. And that's what I want to work on. That we know every vote counts at every level, but is it is important to start where the effort starts. It starts at the state or the local, and it's got to work its way up because those people have power as those things make it up to the top.
That makes so much sense. And the timing for this program, this kind of program, is just it's right on because it's voting season, right? It's time to vote. But even after this vote, we need to stay informed, right? Would you say?
2024 is very, very impactful. Now, this vote is going to deal with the state and local. So if we had started earlier, we would have gotten people ready for what's going on.
Yeah.
But it's not too late because it doesn't happen until the 8th of November.
Yeah.
If we've already voted, hopefully we voted for somebody who's going to allow us to be able to vote again. And what I am saying about that is at that state and local level, if we don't gain power there where we can keep things in a democratic system, and I'm a democratist.
Okay.
And what that means is I believe and I am for democracy.
Yes.
All other parts of the definition, I don't care about that. I support democracy. And democracy means one vote, every person equally, and then we get people in that do the work of those that put them in there, and everything works good. We don't want to move off to any other types of government, but we want to keep our democracies.
That's powerful. That's powerful. So what do you say to folks? And I was going to say young folks. It's not just young folks. What do you say to people who say, like, I'm just one vote. My vote doesn't really matter?
There have been elections won by one vote, 10 votes. In some places, you have to have a certain percentage in order for it not to have to go off to a runoff. But what I say is, let's not worry about other votes. Let's worry about getting our vote in because your vote matters. It does. It really does. You can make the difference. And that's all we have to worry about. But it's being informed, knowing what you're voting for, knowing why you're voting. And let's not put so much emphasis on what the vote does for me, but let's think more holistically in terms of what it does for the country or what it does for the me or us as a whole.
I love that. I love that. So you've heard the tagline for AWE Radio is information and inspiration for your transformation. We are all about empowerment here at AWE Radio. What is it about this kind of information that gives us power?
This information has a long-lasting effect on your life and living, where your reach outer and touch empowerment is about you and what surrounds you, but others are doing those things for you and the country at large as a whole. And so you want to be in that power brokering too. You have people determining what happens for and to you without you involved in that process. And I think everybody has to have a say in what happens to them. And the only way they get it right now is by making that vote and making their voices heard. And that vote is their voice right now.
Be empowered. Again, folks, for those of you who may be just tuning in, we are speaking with Regina R. Adams. She is a retired, let's see, what's her fancy title? Deputy J8 Joint Forces Resource Management, CEO of ABCD Programs and Resource Management, COO of COCO Women and Youth Empowerment. But today she is embarking upon a mission to inform, enlighten, inspire us here at AWE Radio so that we can exercise our voice in this voting season and beyond to empower ourselves to know more, do more, make a positive change in this country, and we are here for it here at AWE Radio. Listen, what do you say? A lot of our college kids, our folks that are just going into college, this is a lot of their first time voting. I guess if they're just going in, it's definitely going to be their first time voting. What message do you have for them? Are you afraid that some of them are going to skirt that responsibility just because they're not used to it? What can we be doing in our community to help encourage our kids to get out there and vote?
You're never too young to know, to learn, to gather the information. But once you are eligible to vote, it is incumbent on us to make sure that those potential voters know that their vote is very much needed, is very much wanted, is very much a part of the whole system. You don't have to be X number of years old for your vote to matter. You don't have to be this or that. Once you can vote, vote, because you do not know when or if something's going to happen to change that. And there are a lot of things which we'll get into as we get deeper into our issues, and we'll say what we're going to talk about. But we want to know, for them to know, that you go in, and I know you're encumbered with school and being free for maybe the first time in your life.
Right, exactly, right.
Having
that part
work to do and all that kind of stuff. And you say, well, maybe I won't vote this year, I'll vote next year. But this year, very consequentially, could be your only time to vote. They might not be voting next year, depending on what happens. So let's take those opportunities and let's gather in our people. And when I say people, I'm talking people at large, all of them, and say, let's matter. Let's make our votes matter by pulling into the fold all of those people eligible and saying, if you don't do it for you, let's do it for me, for the country, for democracy. Let's make sure that we have another opportunity to say, raise our hands and say, this is what I want to have happen. But we have to speak out, and we have to stop giving away power to others who we believe are having our best interest at heart.
Ooh, that is so powerful and so well said. We really need this, folks. I mean, I'm feeling empowered already, and certainly I do plan to, actually I have already exercised my right by voting early. So, and thanks to you for getting all that stuff in the background done. So we certainly appreciate that, and we appreciate your energy and your passion around this. I think this is so needed, and the fact that people can get this kind of information by just tuning in to the radio. Of course, we expect others to do their own due diligence, but putting those issues out there, I think, is just so important and so impactful, and we're so proud that you are bringing this to AWE Radio. We want to thank you for all you are doing and your passion and energy around this. So what are the good things? So I don't want to put you on the spot and ask you what's going to happen for the next episode, but what can we expect on a weekly basis from you?
Telling the hard truth, getting to issues that affect all of us. And it doesn't have to say your name, but as long as it affects any one of us, it affects all of us. So it's providing you with information on where to go and get information, get knowledge that is specific to you, where you are, how to find that information, how to use that information, and when you run up against roadblocks where people are impeding your ability to vote, what the next action is. There are a lot of organizations out that are doing that, so I won't necessarily be the one coming up with those answers. I'm using the resources that are available to all of us, but what I am going to be doing is gathering that together and providing it out to you as a resource to the resources that are available.
I absolutely love that. I'm super excited about that. And for our purposes, I know we're a global station, but for what you're talking about in the voting and the exercising, we're all over the country. So I love that you're talking process and the how-tos, to give information from wherever you are, as you say, how you access resources from wherever you are. I'm super excited about this, folks. I hope you are excited about this. We plan to have an avenue for you to call in and talk to Regina. We're excited about Let's Talk About Getting It Together. It's going to air here on AWE Radio every Friday starting at 9 a.m. Eastern and throughout the day. Stay tuned. We'll keep you posted. Regina, thank you so much for all